Hello, everyone. This is Jamal Thomas, and welcome to the Progressive Soapbox. I'm entitled this one Resistance 101. And this came about essentially with the election of Donald Trump. So when Trump was elected, I was watching the Young Turks. And this wave of, I don't know whether it was nausea or just outright fear came over me. And, I didn't vote for Hillary. I assumed that Virginia would go, I assumed she would win Virginia. And she barely won Virginia. And I knew when she was barely winning Virginia, it was a oh shit moment. Because it's not like these states are disconnected. These states are, connected to one another. They may have different politics, but at the end of the day, patterns tend to go a particular way. She barely won Virginia. And when she started losing to other states, I had this sense of, oh my God, the world has just changed. I went to work the next day after being up all night. And I saw the strangest thing. People were just going about their day as if nothing had just happened. Like you might hear a little chatter here or there. But a maniac has just taken office. That's a complete wild card. That nothing the man says can be taken legitimately or seriously. That he talks out his ass and at a heartbeat. That he lies as easily as most people breathe. And that the only thing he said that's been probably somewhat serious since he's had a track record of it is racist, misogynist rhetoric. I'm gonna build a wall. Muslims, law and order in regards to black. There's a dog whistle for shooting blacks in the face. Unarmed blacks in the face at that. That man took office. And I was terrified. And I didn't quite understand why other people weren't a little concerned. At the very least, a little concerned. They act like it was just a regular election. So that lasted for a few days. And, for lunch every day, I would spend more money than I should to get a meal larger than it should be to kind of stress eat. And then one day, maybe 4 or 5, something changed. I don't know what it was. But that nervous energy changed into this strident, aggressive need to resist. Don't get me wrong. I was still uncomfortable and I was still worried. But that discomfort and that worry was somehow saved by how do you resist? How do you stop it? Like how do you do something? Look, oftentimes it's easy for the person to feel depowered. Because as an individual, for the most part, we believe that, well, not just believe, it's apparent, it's evident, that what you want for your government is not necessarily what your government does. There's a decoupling between the public will and government. So you have 90% of people saying they want background checks. Well, there are no background checks. You have the overwhelming majority of people saying pot should be legal. Well, not overwhelming, but you have a majority of people saying pot should be legal. It is not legal everywhere. You have the majority of the people wanting more taxes on the rich. There are more taxes on the rich. In fact, for that specific one, it's interesting. If you ask people what they think the income distribution is versus what it is, they're way off. Like they usually skew it badly, but it's skewed far worse than what they even think it is. And so they're saying, yeah, the rich should pay more, even on their model. They don't even know what the other model is. That's way, way over the top in regards to what they have or what they've taken versus what the 90% of the public has. And this is a tangent a little bit, but half of the country, if they got hit with a $400 bill, they wouldn't be able to pay it. I think it was like 62% of the country, if they got hit with a $500 car note or car bill, couldn't pay it. The car would just sit. I think the overwhelming majority of the country didn't have $1,000 that they can scrounge together. And when you go from that, it even gets worse when you look at salary. So half the country is in poverty, literally. Half the country only makes like $30,000 a year. How the fuck do you feed your family on $30,000 a year? I mean, it's amazing, and yet you still can't get any solutions for it because, for the most part, Washington responds to its donors. That's what it boils down to. And unless you had a public that was focused and specific, they don't care. And look, there's a logic to it. You might say, well, fuck, man, you should just be a person and just do the right thing. I will call you infinitely naive. They respond to who pays them. It's that simple. Do I respond to the person who's not really paying attention to politics? Or do I respond to the guy who just gave me $1 million? That's not a hard choice. I mean, politically, it's not a hard choice. So, that's the other point. And Princeton has come in and said, yeah, this is no longer a democracy or a republic. This is an oligarchy. And it was based on your research. Princeton said, yeah, based on our research, the United States is no longer a democracy. Like, we slept while Rome burned. So my feeling was, how do I resist? And I started thinking of ways to resist. So the first way is something I do anyway. Money equals values. How you spend your money should equate, or shouldn't, at the very least, shouldn't crap over what you believe in. So if I think people should get a fair wage, why the hell am I going to shop at Walmart? Walmart pays people so low of a wage that the government has to literally substitute for Walmart. Walmart has like $40 billion. As the family has $40 billion. Why in the world aren't you paying people a fair wage? You can afford. Certainly you can afford it. It's the largest employer in the United States. You damn sure can afford it. And like I said, $1 billion. What they do is, though, it hurts a company to pay those profits. Anytime you pay for an employee, anytime you pay them a fair wage, it's taking money out of your pocket. And they're doing their best to funnel that money to the top. And if I'm paying that guy a living wage, you're taking away from my billions. I'm making one less $1 billion, man. What am I supposed to do? You heard me. You're taking food out of my mouth. Yes. I have $40 billion in the bank. But I need that $1 billion extra that those people need in order to live. I mean, that's essentially the argument. That's the madness of the argument, of the conversation. So no, I'm not shopping at Walmart. My money equals my values. Same thing with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, if that guy is out there spending money on anti-gay rights, fuck am I shopping at Chick-fil-A when I think gays should have every right as everybody else? They're people. People should be equal. So if I'm buying chicken and that chicken dollar is going into finding ways to fuck over gay marriage, then yeah, I have a problem with that. So I'm not spending my money on that. And you can run that across the board. Whether that's buying hamburgers from McDonald's, whether it's buying chicken sandwiches from Burger King, I don't care what it is. You know, the fast food thing is twofold. In one case, it's they don't pay their people a fair, decent wage. And the second part is how they treat animals. They treat animals horribly. And this is a tangent, so I'm not going to go too far into this, but they treat animals miserably. The things that they do to them is amazing. It's filth that they have them in. And in an odd way, the carbon emissions from agriculture, animal agriculture, is one of the leading contributors to global warming. It's like a karmic debt for treating that life bad. All right, so there's that. So the last one, and this one I'm getting a little bit excited about, as I said. I don't expect any major push on it right off the bat, but I like it. I'm going to crowdfund me. I'm going to start a crowdfunding account. And it's going to be called the People's Super PAC. The People's Super PAC. And I'm going to use that Super PAC to go after weak Democrats. Starting off in Virginia. I'm going to go after them. And when I find a Democrat that's weak and that's not standing up for progressive values or values that old Democrats stand for, oh, we're going after them. So on A presidential election, yeah, that's not going to work. But on local elections, they don't spend huge amounts of money yet. Those guys are vulnerable. And so you don't need a huge amount of money to make a big impact. And if you go after a few of those guys in those state governments, and you kind of are very explicit and very clear that this is what we want, and this is why we're supporting your opponent, and we're trying to get this guy to take your head because you're weak and you're in our way, they'll get the hint. And if they don't, again, we're trying to primary the shit out of them anyway. So it's a moot point. I like that idea. And if that gets exported in every state, if that gets exported in the local governments, oh man, you're talking about a new day in America. You're talking about a revolutionary idea where the public just says, yeah, enough. I mean, they're not out there chanting or anything else. They're just putting money into essentially what amounts to a corporation that's only job is to benefit the public. That's the only, it's like, the person who's going to be handling the crowdfunding account will wake up in the morning and go to bed in the morning purely with the idea of, how can I benefit the public? I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, granted, this is assuming that it gets exported out. This is assuming that a bunch of people support it. This is assuming a bunch of people even know about it. But if all those things are true, that's resistance. And that changes things. And it doesn't necessarily hit the federal level yet. I mean, yeah, you're going to get state and local races at a certain point, particularly if this catches on and you're getting enough finances where you can actually make a splash in state and local elections. But we're coming, man. We're coming. When they talk to the youth, oh man, they're progressive. And when you ask them about socialism and stuff like that, they're like, oh, well, sounds good to me. And you gotta understand, they say it sounds good to them because capitalism is a Ponzi scheme. It's failed. I mean, at the end of the day, as the party moves further and further to the right, well, that's the country you get, man. So that's the plan. So look, guys, whoever's looking at this, write down ideas for resistance. Like, write down ideas that you think, yeah, this is how I'm going to resist. This is how I'm going to go about trying to effect positive change in the country and in the world. If Trump puts out a Muslim registry, everybody registers. If, they're trying to beat the hell out of people trying to protect their land, God damn it, right. Support those people going up there to help them out. Find ways to resist. Find ways to help out. And put down your ones at the bottom. All right, guys. Have a good night.